Well, I'm passionately believe in this. It's something I've been going on about for a number of years. In fact, I mentioned it to David Cameron before he was Prime Minister, that what we really ought to have is what I described then as a Three Eyes Mark II. Three Eyes was formed in the 50s by the banks to plug a gap which I think was described by the Macmillan Commission as an equity gap. I think we have an equity gap in this country for small and medium-sized businesses. It used to, a number of years ago, it used to be provided by the stock exchange. Small companies could float and raise money on the stock exchange, but that doesn't seem to be possible anymore. Investors don't really want that kind of investment, so we're actually going to provide it. It's a very lonely business, running a business, a small business. And if we can be a partner in that business and we can help you to grow, then you should welcome us with open arms and see this as a really good way of growing the value of your business for yourself, of course, because that's many people's motivations, but also taking more people on, employing more people, and all the things that we want in a thriving economy. The Business Growth Fund will obviously give advice, but we are really backing the management of these businesses. I mean, it's very important to understand that. I mean, clearly we'll want some controls in there if we have a minority shareholding in the business, but we're there to help and provide that long-term sustainable base where they can have the really great confidence to grow the business. One of the issues that small companies have all the time is if they want to grow, they have to spend more money on marketing, taking sales on, etc., which depresses profits, which leaves less to invest in the business. And what we're saying is, well, actually you're going to have long-term equity that will be able to bridge that gap. If you have a larger capital base, a long-term equity, then that does enable banks to be more confident in lending more money on the short term. And I think overdraft borrowing is very appropriate if you're ironing out seasonal problems with work in progress or working capital, etc. That's what overdrafts should be for. They should not be for long-term capital. So it certainly, if a business is better capitalized, banks will be more confident in lending money on an overdraft basis for short-term needs.
We're looking for companies that have already proven that they are successful because they've got to a turnover of at least £10 million. And they're then facing the next step of how do we make a larger, bigger company, a more successful business. With the injection of long-term equity capital, companies will be able to plan for the future, they'll be able to expand, and in doing so will create stronger, vibrant businesses, which is going to help the economy as a whole. I would like to see the Business Growth Fund, in terms of its involvement with companies over the long term, as an evolving relationship where we can provide both capital and guidance. We'll be working with entrepreneurs. In my experience, entrepreneurs have one driving passion, which is a great degree of self-belief. We'll supplement that with experience, with judgment as to how we should allocate that capital, and with the ability to really make a difference for those companies. They'll be able to do things that are not possible using bank finance, and in many cases not appropriate, and they will be able to become the bigger companies of tomorrow, which will be the real hallmark of success. With the backing of the major banks behind us, we will be able to take a long-term perspective. We'll be able to help companies invest to build sustainable advantage rather than looking for very short-term return. I absolutely believe that will make an enormous impact. There is not anything of any equivalence to this in the country at the moment. I believe we will become a real beacon for companies of the future and entrepreneurs of the future. Our job will be to identify and help those companies grow. I'm passionate about supporting entrepreneurs. I think this is a tremendous opportunity to take a large amount of capital that will make a real difference to the British economy, and to, with selective approach across the country, be able to identify businesses of tomorrow that will benefit from long-term capital. That requires a combination of investment judgment. I've invested in a lot of companies over the years. I think it involves a lot of judgment of people, because we're backing people ultimately. They're the ones that make companies successful. I think we'll be able to target companies and industries where there is a long-term competitive opportunity and where they can be sustainable and competitive on a larger scale.